Hello there, welcome to Folklore Friday with Adirondack Experience, the museum on Blue Mountain Lake. My name is Grayson, and I hope you're doing well today. At the Adirondack Experience, we like to tell stories. These stories are often about the people that lived here long ago, the people that live here today, about animals and nature and how we all interact. So, the museum does their research, and what they write, you can believe. But we have whole books full of stories where you can't quite believe everything you read. And sometimes stories, they get exaggerated. And we call these exaggerated stories tall tales. And tall tales are stories that start off with a little grain of truth. And this truth gets exaggerated or stretched into something quite unbelievable. And one of the best known authors in the Adirondacks was a man named William Henry Harrison Murray. And he was pretty neat. He had a pretty long name. So he was born in 1840. So this was a long time ago. Before me, before your parents, before your grandparents. Well, William Henry Harrison Murray, he was from Boston. And he would go on vacation here in the Adirondacks. And he loved it up here so much. He would go on so many different adventures, like camping and fishing and biking and boating and hunting and all sorts of different things. And he would write it down in a book called Adventures in the Wilderness. And that got published. And people loved it. And we have a copy of the book here. It doesn't have that neat cover, but it's a copy of his book. And this book had all of his stories. And people wanted to have that same kind of adventure as him. And they came in different ways. They came by stagecoach. And this is a stagecoach. They came by train, like this one up here. And they came by boat, like this or this. And sometimes they even had to walk, like these guys up here. But they were so excited by the time they got up here, they just wanted to have a ton of fun. But most of them, they were from the city and they didn't know what to do. So what do you do when you don't know what to do? You'll find someone who does. The people who knew what to do, they were called guides. And guides would take the tourists out to have adventures. Now, guides like this, and I know it's hard to see, but up here, like that, they would take these tourists to have adventures, and they would take them fishing, and everyone wanted to show off to the people back home. So while fishing, you might only catch a fish this big, but in your story, you were struggling. You were fighting to pull this fish in all day, pulling and struggling, and finally, as the sun was setting, you brought in a huge fish. It was nearly the size of your boat. Does that sound believable? That's a tall tale. And stories like this were so common, especially when guides and their tourists had to settle down for the night. Now, this was a time before electricity, so there was no switch. There was no Netflix. They had to talk to each other and tell stories, and tall tales were the best way to do it. Now, William Henry Harrison Murray, he had some pretty good ones. But today, we are going to learn how to make our own. Now, how do we do that? Well, every story has 3 parts: a beginning, a middle, and an end. I've broken it down. So, our basic layout with the beginning, middle, and end is pretty simple. Every story has that. But in ours, the beginning is where the kernel of truth is. And this is where the story lies. So, you take your kernel of truth in the beginning, and then in the middle and the end, you start to stretch it and exaggerate it until the story gets so unbelievable. Right? So that's your tall tale. So you got your kernel of truth, and then it gets super unbelievable towards the end. Here's one of my tall tales. See if you can guess where the story starts to get unbelievable. So, one day, I was, and this is me, walking in the woods. and I came across a log that had a mushroom on it. So I said, I want to take a closer look at that mushroom. And I did, and I found gold coins underneath it. So I said, I'm gonna scoop them up and put them in my pocket so I can look at them under my microscope later. So as I'm walking along with those gold coins in my pocket, I hear music in the distance, and I'm like, whoa, what is going on? So I jog towards it, and I find gnomes in the clearing playing music. I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, we're having a party. Do you want to join us? I'm like, of course. So we sang and we danced and we had snacks, and I gave them my gold coins to thank them for such an awesome day. The end. Does that story sound believable? Got a little exaggerated, a little fantastic. I know that there's a lot of great tall tales out there. Paul Bunyan with Babe in the Blue Ox, John Henry, and these are all available online. So, I have an idea. Why don't you, with the help of an adult, send us your favorite tall tales? These can either be ones that you made up, that have the beginning, middle, and end, or ones that you were told. Remember, with the beginning, middle, and end, the beginning has that little kernel of truth, and then it starts to get stretched. So, you can send them to us at 80kx at home at the 80kx.org. So, feel free to send us your favorite tall tales or something that you made up. And I look forward to reading them here on Folklore Fridays. I'll see you again.